So we are on a MATLAB programming day 3. So let's discuss about the topics like how to use the strings in MATLAB. Then we'll see the cell arrays in MATLAB. Then later on we'll see how to do the plots. Okay. So these are topics we are going to cover today. Okay. So far we covered the topics like we discussed about how to create matrices, how do we access the content of the matrices by using various indexing techniques like subscript, linear and logical. Even also we saw how to modify the content of the matrix. So let's see other kind. So whatever we saw so far was about the numerical type of data. So let's see other kind of data as well today. So we will begin with the string type of data now. Strings. So how do we start with a string? Say to declare a string, you can take a variable, okay, and you can assign a value. Okay, so I am writing welcome to Abiamtrix, okay, internship program. So here, so this welcome to Abhiyantrix internship program, this is the string which we are written, and we assign this to a variable called as h. So let's execute this statement. So it is taking some time. Okay, so now h has been assigned, so it is present in the workspace. So now if you look at the details about the h variable, okay, you can see that. So this is a variable having a 1 row and 41 columns. Actually there are 41 characters are there including space, so we have around 41 characters. So that's why the size is 41. In the beginning I said MATLAB stores all sorts of variables or any kind of data type in the form of matrices only. So that's why you can see here it is also stored in the form of an array format, 1 row and 41 columns. Each character take 2 bytes for the storage, so you have around 82 bytes for the storage purpose. Data type will be a char data type. So if you want to check only the data type of that variable, you can use the class function, class of h. So that gives you the details, the character. So now in order to access the content of them, see now w is in the first element, e is in the second element, l is the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, so on, like up to 41st character. So give me a second. Yeah, so as I mentioned, each character is stored as a one element, so you have total 41 elements. So if you want to access the content of them, you can directly type h, so it gives the complete matrix content. So example, I want to access only the welcome. So if I want to access only the welcome from this whole string, so I need to specify the character number 1 to the 7th character. So either you can use the subscript indexing like 1 comma 1 colon 7, so that gives the welcome. So this is using subscript. Even you can write h of, even you can use the linear indexing. Say example, I want the Abhiyantrix to be printed, so it is in the location starting from 8, 10, 11. Okay, it start from 11, directly I can mention 11 colon, so it is having total 5 plus 5, 10, 11 character. So here up to 22 I will mention. This is linear indexing. So I are able to print the Abhiyantrix here. So that's how you can access the content of a string also. Just like how we used for numerical content, same way we can use it here also. Yes sir, question. Yes. So the blank spaces are also considered as character? Yes, yes, they are considered as character. Say example, I want to otherwise I'm supposed to give it here. If I'm not considering these two as a characters, so it was supposed to be a 10th character, right? 7 plus 2, 9. 9 after that, this should be a 10th character. This was supposed to be a 10th character, but actually, so this is actually 12th, starting from 12, because I selected 11. You can see there is one space over here, sir, coming. So there is a space coming over here. This is because of the 11th character is a space. But if I mention h of 12 colon 22, I'll still get Abhiyantriks as the output without space. You can see the difference. So whatever you put in between the inverted quotes, they are all considered as a characters. Even if I'm writing NIE as a variable, NIE equal to 2020 internees. So here 2020, this is also a character. This is not a numerical number for the NIE variable. So if I'm accessing NIE of 1 colon 4, it will print us the answer 2020. You can see currently the data type of this is, like, if I'm selecting G equal to that, and if I'm checking the class of G, it is going to be a character only. You can see that. So whatever the elements you put in between the inverted quotes, they are all considered as a characters. Let's work on string comparison. So using relational operators, we can do the comparisons. Okay. So like if I'm having a string h a equal to hello, sorry, hello, b equal to another variable hello, and c equal to capital hello, and d equal to hello. So how are you? So these are the 4 variables I'm taking, a b c d. I executed them. You can do the comparison like this. If you want to do, write a equal to b, you can do the comparison. The result will be stored in a variable called as L. I am taking a new variable L to store that result. It will compare each and every character of A with each and every character of B. Okay. So all 5 positions we get the output as 1 1 1, because all the characters are matching. Now I am taking L2 result, that is equal to A equal to C. Here lowercase h and uppercase h both are not matching. You will get a result 0 in that position. In other positions you will get 1 1 1 1. Okay. But when I try for this L3 equal to A equal to D, so this is going to be an error. So when you try to do the comparison with the relational operators, the matrix both A and B, right hand side and left hand side, should match. So that's why you're getting the error here. Error due to dimension mismatch. So when you want to compare, you can compare with the matrices of equal size. So then only you can do the comparison. So another comparison you can do it is L3 equal to A equal to, I am checking for how many times L is there. Okay. Or I'll check it for D equal to character O, I am comparing. So wherever O is present, it will make the position 1, other places it will be 0. So with a single character I can do the comparison. Matrix of any size can be compared with a single character. You can see that. So this will be useful if you are looking for a particular character inside your data. Okay, then you can, this will be very much helpful. So this is using the relational operator, that is equality symbol. You can do the comparison. So then let's do with the inbuilt functions. Using inbuilt functions, I'm going to compare the same character strings here. First one, string compare. Here it compares the whole string. Even if one character is not matching, you will get the result as 0. If all the characters matches, then only I will be getting the result as 1. A compared with B, we will be getting the result 1 here, because both the strings are same, lowercase hello, lowercase hello. So this result is 1. This is case sensitive comparison. String compare A comma C. What is the expected result? It is going to be 0. Yes, I'm getting the result as 0. Now I'll do the same string comparison A with C. This time I'll get the result as 1. What I'll change is I'll change the function as string compare I. It indicates case insensitive. String compare I indicates case insensitive. So same result, I'm getting the output as 1. Next, here you can compare the matrices of any dimension, so that you can do it. A comma D, if I'm trying it, the expected result obviously will be 0, because their strings are not matching. Okay. Next, string compare of C comma D. Let me try C comma D. This is also 0. Okay, so let me repeat the same thing, but here this time I'm going to introduce a new function called as string n compare C comma D comma 5. Indicates it will compare the first 5 characters only. It will compare only the first 5 characters. Hello will be compared with this first 5 characters. So let me do that. The output is 1, because both the strings are matching. So I'll be getting, so compares first 5 characters. You can compare something like this, any number of characters you can choose, but always it will begins with the beginning of the character. You can compare up to 5, 6, 10, anything. This string compare C comma D. If I'm trying NCMP of A comma D, the result is 0. So A comma D comma, I'm comparing first 5 character here also, but still the result is 0, because this is lowercase and whereas this H is uppercase. Now I can do this also, string compare n elements with a case insensitive. Compares first 5 characters, case insensitive. So this time the result will be 1. Like this you can do the comparisons. Okay, so the other functions which you can try around, okay, you can check for find, you can check for string match, okay, is member. Like this, few inbuilt functions are there. You can check these things later on. Okay, I'll tell you later on how to use the MATLAB inbuilt documentation for the further studies. Okay, next. So that's a basic introduction to your strings. Any questions here? Let me know before I move on to the next topic. Any questions? No questions? Okay, so let us continue then. Operators, so we will be using them whenever required. So but simple and most useful operators, I'm going to discuss it now. Let me start with say example, you want to do the addition, you have a plus symbol, 2 plus 3 example. So this is addition, add, 2 minus 3 is subtract, 2 star 3 multiplication, 2 divided by 3, this is division. Say like how you perform the matrix multiplication. Say example, I have this matrix A is equal to magic of 3 and B is equal to let's say rand of, so let me not take rand, so B is equal to 3 star ones of 3. So let me execute these two matrices. So this is scalar multiplication, So here with a single value I'm multiplying, the resultant matrix will be 3 3 3, because ones of 3 will give us the result as 1 1 1, and after multiplying with 3 I'll get this matrix, and this is your A matrix. So how to perform the matrix multiplication? This is A star B, this is matrix multiplication. So how it will be performed? Row into column, that's what you will do, right? Row of A into column of A, that's how you will do the multiplication in matrix multiplication, that's how it will be performed. So when I perform this, we will be getting this result. So 45 45, this is going to be our answer. Okay, so let's see another A dot star B. So this is dot product. What is dot product? Is element by element multiplication it is. So let me call this as a simple element by element multiplication. Here dot indicates do the operation element by element. So normally in matrix multiplication what happens is, so your first row into the first column of A will be multiplied and you will get a summation. So then so on like that you will perform it. Okay, but here in dot product, when I do A dot star B, element of A, first element of A, first element of B will be multiplied, second with second, third with the third. Okay, element by element multiplication will take place. You can see that result A dot star B. Okay, you can see here 8 into 3 24 I'm getting, then 1 into 3 I'll get 3, 6 into 3 18. So this is element by element multiplication. By introducing the dot operator you can do that. So then A dot divided by B, so this is element by element division. Then A divided by B, this is matrix multiplication. So but matrix multiplication cannot be achieved like this. So for matrix multiplication what you can do is, you can write A star inverse of B. Inverse is a inbuilt function that you can use it for performing the matrix division. So the matrix division this is. So this is element by element division, this is matrix division. Next apart from this you have some other inbuilt functions. Say example, you want to find the remainder, you will use the remainder function, remainder of A comma B, you can get the remainder. So then to find log you have a log function, to find the exponential you have an exponential function, and to find the summation you have a sum function, to find a factorial of a number you have factorial function inbuilt. So like that you have many inbuilt functions are available. And to find the mod you have a mod function is available. So percentage is actually here used for comments, so you don't have a symbol for mod operator, so you will be using the inbuilt function. Then you have a relational operators like a greater than symbol, then less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, then equal to. These are all relational operators. So then you have and, comma, or. So then you have So this is a and or functions, and this is or symbol. So then one more I forgot to tell is power operator. So example 2 to the power 3. So this is the power operator. Okay, so I can get power of this one. So example a is there, a power 2. What it means, it is equivalent to writing a star, sorry, a to the power of 2. It is equivalent to a star a, right? So we can perform this operation. It performs a into a. Like if I'm doing a star a, I'll be getting the same result. Okay. But you can also apply dot power 2. Okay. So what this will do is, it will perform the element by element squaring. Actually this is your a, so it squares each element of the a now. So this is element by element power operator. So dot, where you can use it for division, multiplication, and to the power operator. Say like a dot power b. So this is actually a, this is b. All elements of b are 3 3 3 3. So otherwise if I do the reverse, like b dot power of 2, power of a, so 3 to the power of, it will perform 3 to the power of 8, 3 to the power of 1, 3 to the power of 6, like that it will do the power operation. So okay, so this is how it will perform power operator. Like as per the requirement you can do the manipulation here. So that's it. That's the basics about the operators, inbuilt operators. There are still many operators are there. We are not going to discuss them separately. So we will be, whenever required, we will use them, and that time I'll give the explanation about them. So now let's move on to the cell array. No, before I move on to cell array, one more topic I have to take is matrix concatenation. So you have the matrix A. So this is my matrix A. So this is your A equal to, and I have matrix B. Already B, A and B are present here, right? A is equal to magic of 3 and B is equal to 3 star ones of 3. Next I'll take C is equal to ones of, yes, ones of 3 comma 4. Okay, total I have 3 matrices. Okay, so let me do concatenation. What do you mean by concatenation? Adjoining multiple matrices to form a new matrix. Here, how to do that one? First one is horizontal concatenation. Horizontal concatenation. It's very simple. You will write horizontal concatenation, say like m equal to square bracket. You can write a comma b. So it concatenates a and b, and you will get a new resultant matrix which is a combination of a, and you will put the b beside a. Okay, so that means you will take this matrix elements and you will copy them here. Okay, sorry, so they will actually come beside this one. So then your resultant matrix will have 3 rows and 6 columns, 1 2 3 4 5 6 columns it will have it. Okay, so let's do that. When I'm writing comma, this is called as horizontal because you are placing one array beside another one. So this is the resultant matrix. Even I can do m2 equal to square bracket a comma b comma c. You can have as many matrices you want to have it. So this is the larger array. Okay, so this is horizontal concatenation. Then we'll go for vertical concatenation. Okay, v equal to, say, like a semicolon b. Okay, so let's do that. So one matrix kept below another one. So let me try one more. Equal to square bracket a semicolon b semicolon c. So when I try this, so this will give us the error. The reason is I am trying to keep the one matrix below the other one. This is possible because this can be easily kept below this one. But when I try to keep this matrix, so what to do with this extra one more column? Okay, you cannot define this whole matrix as a one matrix. So that's why when we try to do the vertical concatenation, so we should have same number of columns for vertical concatenation. So for verticat we should have same number of columns. Similarly here for horizontal concatenation, okay, so we should have same number of rows. So example, if I'm taking a new matrix like D equal to, okay, ones of 2 comma 3, 2 comma 3. So if I'm executing this, so this is having 2 rows and 3 columns. So when I keep this here, and if I try to do the concatenation, like I'll do the horizontal concatenation, h equal to a comma b comma d. If I try to perform, a and b are having a 3 rows each, but whereas d is having a only 2 rows. That is not possible. You will get this error. Okay, so mismatch. Next, similarly, if I do it for the vertical concatenation, say like a semicolon b semicolon d, so this will happen because you have 3 columns here. Even in a also 3 columns are there, b also 3 columns are there. You can easily do this. Yes, that's about the concatenation. Matrix reshaping. For this, I'm going to consider a new matrix, m equal to magic of 6. Okay, Aishwarya.
Yes, sir.
So tell me, what is the size of this matrix going to be? This matrix, magic of 6.
It should actually it should be 6 cross 6. Yes.
Yeah, we have 6 cross 6. Total, how many elements are there? How many elements are there? Total 36 elements, right?
36.
Okay.
36 elements.
To get 36 elements, what are the other possible combination? Like 6 into 6 will give us 36 elements. Is there any other possible options so that we can get 36 elements?
Yes, sir.
What are the other? Can you tell? I'll give one
9
example.
into 4.
Yeah, 9 into 4. Then
19 into 2.
19 into 2, not
18 into 2.
18 into 2. Okay. The reverse of all other combination, like 2 into 18, 4 into 4 into 9, then 3 into 12. Any other? 1 into 36, 36 into 1. Okay, I can convert this matrix which is of size 6 by 6 into all these combinations. Okay, so this converting to these combinations is called as reshaping. Any one you can choose it and you can do the conversion without modifying the elements. We can do that conversion. They will be available in the same index positions. Like currently 35 is in the index number 1, 11 is at the position 36, and if I take 33, it is at the position 16. 6 plus 6, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So like that. So they will remain in the same index numbers. When you try to access them via linear indexing, you will get the same output. So without modifying their index positions, we can do the shape conversion. This is called as reshaping. We'll do that one now. Okay. So it's a very simple function. Reshape. Now new matrix n equal to reshape of m comma. So you need to mention the row and column numbers. Say example, I want to convert it to the 9 row and 4 columns. Like put this in a square bracket. 9 row and 4 column. So then execute this statement. Yes, n is having a 9 rows and 4 columns. And if you see here 35, what is the index number for 35? 1. Here also we are getting 1. 4 is at position 6. 4 is also at position 6. 34 is at the position 12 plus 5, 17, and here 9 plus 9, 18 minus 1. This is at the 17th position only. Everything will remains the same. So this is how you can do the reshaping of a matrix. This is not resizing. We are just doing the shape conversion. Many cases, certain cases it is required to reshape the matrices. In those cases we will use this reshaping technique. Any further questions? Okay, so let's move on to the cell arrays. So now cell arrays, I need to put up one more structures. What are cell arrays? These are these are heterogeneous data type variables. These are heterogeneous arrays which can have any kind of data within them. So these are heterogeneous arrays which can have any kind of data within them. Say example, if you are creating a variable, say like clear, I'll take variable a equal to, I'll write here Harish. Sorry, 1 minute. I'll write here Harish, so which is of total 6 characters. Okay, comma, here again one more, I'll write Ramya. Okay, G I will write again, I'll make it as 6 characters. Okay, then semicolon, I will write here Darshan. Okay, so this is about 7 characters. Then I will write one more Mamata. So this is again having a 6 characters. Okay. So when I try to execute this statement, this array, what is the expected output? Darshan. ಇದನ್ನು ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಬರೋಕ್ಕೆ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಇದೆನಾ? ಮೇಟ್ರಿಕ್ಸ್ ಥರ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ? ನಾವು ಈ ಥರ ಬರೀಬೋದಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ? ಓಕೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಫೈನ್. ರಮ್ಯಾ ಬರೀಬಹುದು. ಓಕೆ, ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಸಿ whether this works or not then. So dimension being concatenated are not consistent, meaning here in this first row actually you can write something like this, but the problem is you should match the characters. Okay, in characters, number of characters in first row should be same as number of characters in the second row. Okay, total numbers only. Here Harish is having a 6 characters, Ramya G is having a 6 character. Total 12 characters are there in the first row. Second row we are having total 7 plus 6, 13 characters are there. So it is not possible to create a array like that. Okay, so this was giving us the error. So next I'll create one more. So here I'll take one more array. So in this I'll just extend Harish G, I will make it. Okay, Harish G, I will write it. So now we'll see what will happen now. Execute. So this is coming, but how they are kept here, they are considered as we know that MATLAB considers every element as a every character as a one element. So they are kept as a without any spaces. It keeps the arrays. So that will not be useful for us if it is keeping like, even though we are separated here, it is not keeping. So one way is you need to give the space manually. Okay. So but that is not an efficient method to store the variables in practical scenarios. So it is not useful, even though we can create, but it is not useful. So next, C equal to, I want to create a matrix like this, magic of 3 comma ones of 3 comma then rand of 3. Can I create this matrix or not? Here it is having a 3 rows 3 columns, 3 rows 3 columns, 3 rows 3 columns. We can create this matrix, but they are going to be in a single array. But when I try to do something like this, different dimension, I want to take it with a 4 by 4 matrix, and this I want to take it as 3 rows 2 columns. Now if you try this, you will get dimension mismatch error. Say I'm going to consider these are different inputs, but when I'm trying to keep them, so it is throwing the error here. So then matrices, simple matrices are not useful to store the strings and to store the matrices of different dimension. And now we'll see last example, E equal to, let's consider here I'm going to take new name like write Rakshita. Okay, so and then I will write here ones of 3. So I'll write here simply 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4, then comma I will write 45, then I'll write 89. So let's see what is the output we are going to get. So here I combine the string and then I combine the numerical values. Okay, so when I try to have a two different types in a single variable, so what will happen, whether I'll be getting error or not. Let's see, I didn't get any error, but what happened is here, so Rakshita is kept as it is, 1 2 3 4, so it is kept as a null character here, and 45 it is shown here hyphen, and 89 is been replaced with a capital Y. So that means what is happening here is they are getting converted to the numerical numbers are getting converted to the equivalent ASCII values. So here it uses basically Unicodes. So when we combine numeric and int data, sorry, numeric and string data, so MATLAB replaces numeric data with equivalent Unicodes. Okay, so numeric data with the equivalent Unicodes. Equivalent Unicode for 89 is capital Y. Okay, so 89 is a Unicode for capital Y, like you call ASCII codes, right? MATLAB uses something like Unicodes. So this is what happens. So that means this is normal matrices are not suitable to store the both numeric as well as the character type of data. So this is why we have to find some solution to store such kind of data. So what is the solution would be? We'll see it now. Let me do some small change here. Curly bracket, I'll replace it with here. So I'm not going to get error here. I'll replace square brackets with the curly brackets. Okay, so let's execute all of them now and see what will happen. Now here I'll take it as A1, B1, C1, D1 and E1. See here, I haven't got any errors so far. You can see here, as per our requirement, Harish, Ramyaji, Darshan and Mamata, everything has been kept as per our requirement. It is in first row first column as per this. This is in first row second column. Darshan is in second row first column. Mamata is in first row second column. Even you can see here B. So there is no error whether it is having a 3 characters or 5. So it is not throwing any error for us. Okay. Here it can store the matrices, each one magic of 3 as a whole matrix is separately here. Okay. So even this which we are getting error with the dimension mismatch, even we are not getting here. Actually it is not showing the content, it's telling the size of that. So normally in cell arrays it won't display the content of the cell. First of all, coming to the cell, what is cell? Here in cell arrays, whenever you put comma, so that data till that comma will be considered as a one cell. That means this Harish is going to be considered as a one cell. Beside that I am going to keep one more cell. Within the cell you can have any kind of data. You can have numeric data as well as you can have string data. So there is no relationship between the data between one cell to the another cell. Okay, it doesn't matter. So that's why you are not getting any errors here. Each element is called as a one cell here. So this is a cell 1, this is cell 2, cell 3 and cell 4. Sorry, not like that. Cell first row first column cell, first row second column, second row first column, second row second column. That means 1, 2, 3, 4 according to this one. Like normally here like 1, 2, 3, 4 if you are using a linear indexing. Indexing technique remains the same, but we instead of using square bracket we will be using here curly braces. And this is magic of 3 is a one cell, this is going to be second, this is going to be third cell. Here Rakshita is one cell, comma 1, 2, 3, 4, these are elements in one square bracket. So these all elements will be in a one more cell. Then 45 is going to be in another cell, 89 is going to be in another cell. Total it will have a 4 cells. You can see here E1 is having a 1 cross 4 cell, D1 is having a 1 cross 3 cell, that means 1 row and 3 cells, and whereas A1 is having a 2 rows and 2 columns. Double click, okay, it will show the content of that cell. See here, double click again one of them, it will show actual content. So if it is having a numerical values, it will not display here. Say example, if I am taking D1, it will only show the small numbers. Okay, you can see here. If its size is less, then it will display the numbers. Okay, here 4 cross 4 more numbers are there. So if you want to see the content, you can double click the cell and you can see the content of it. So that's how we can actually see the content. So this is cells, and within the cell what is the content of that. It can be any values. Okay, that's why you will get the you won't be getting any errors here. So that's the usage of this cell arrays. So normally when you want to store the heterogeneous data types, so you may use it, or else any cases you want to store some input data like various test cases if you want to build it. Okay, so instead of storing in multiple variables, you can store it in a cell array. In cell 1 you can store a test case 1 data, in cell 2 you can store test case 2 data, like that you can store it. Even the results also you can store it in a single cell array, so that storage will become easier and accessing will also become easier. So that's the main advantages of using the cell arrays. Let's see how to access the content of the cell. So how do I print this Harish now? Okay, A1 square bracket 1 if I'm writing. Okay, so it will print Harish. Sorry, not a square bracket, A1 of 1. But it is coming with a curly bracket, you can see that. Just remember that, I'll do the modification to that. A1 of 2 comma 2, what is the output? Adarsh, what is the output?
Yes, ma'am.
A1 of 2 comma 2, what is the output?
Second to second column.
What is the output? It will show output as,
Yes,
you can see, Mamata, that is going to be the output, right? So fine. Okay, but it is coming with the square bracket, right? Why it is coming with a square bracket? Let's try for one more example. Okay, so try to print this second element, second cell. How do you print in D1 second cell? D1 of cell number 2 you can directly write, right? Because 1 2 3, only 3 element, 3 cells are there,
yes, sir.
but it will not show us the content. It is telling the 4 rows and 4 columns, because this is not the cell indexing. If you want to index the cell, cells need to be accessed using curly braces only. So that means I am supposed to write A1 curly bracket of 1. So this will actually tells us the output Harish without any curly bracket. See here, it is coming with the inverted code that indicates string data complete. Now A1 of 2 comma 2, if you try with the curly bracket, you can see the difference. And complete D1 of 2, it will print all the 4 rows and 4 column elements. You can see. So this is actually your cell indexing. Okay. So this is your cell indexing. Cell indexing. Okay. Now my question is, Darshan. Okay. So in this example, B1 is there, right? I want to print Darshan. Okay. But I want to print only Shan from this one. SHAN. I don't want to print Darshan completely. I want to print only SHAN. How do you print it? Or to make it simple, in this C1 magic of 3 is there. Okay. So how do you print that magic of 3? Tell me. In C1, print that magic of 3. That is first cell, right? How do you print that first cell? C1 C1 of 1 comma 1 or 1. Okay, so this will actually give us the result of first cell. So I'm getting completely all the 3 rows and 3 columns, but I don't want to print now all the elements. I want to just print the second column inside this one. I want to print the second column inside this one. How do I print that one? So this is called as, now you are printing the cell, whole cell you are printing. Total 3 cells are present in C1. You are printing the first cell out of it. But I don't want to print the first cell completely. I want to print only the second column. How can I do that one? So this is going to be called as content indexing. Okay. So let's try now. Content C1 of 1. This will give the access to the cell 1. And within that, once you get that cell, it will be a matrix, right? Now this is a matrix. Okay. So then use the matrix indexing. Smooth bracket. All the rows. How many rows are there? 3 rows are there. I want the second column. Mention that. Okay. So this will give us the second column inside this. Okay. So this is your content indexing. Okay. Now can you just try how to do this? Okay. So let's try this one. From D1 cell 1 print second and third row. This you have to try it. And also from B1 matrix in Darshan string print only SHAN. Try this too. So I'll be back in 5 minutes. Okay, so try to do this one. So this is how we define the sine wave. Here A is amplitude, F is frequency, T is your time samples. So when I computed Y, so I got this results. Y is having a total 11 samples because it depends on T, which is having a total 11 samples. So now I did the transpose operation on T and Y. So these are the total 11 samples, corresponding samples of X axis and Y axis. Let me plot. To plot, you will use the function plot T comma Y. So just execute this statement. You will get now a plot. Separate figure window will appear with the sine wave plotted. At the beginning it might take more time. You can see here Rakshita, does it look like a sine wave? So this is not looking like a proper sine wave, right? Somewhat truncated, right?
Yes, sir.
So what happened? Like why we are getting something like this? What is the correction we can try on? So totally how many samples we have in this example? How many samples are there? You can see here total how many samples are there? 0 to
A,
11 samples. Total 11 samples are there. Okay. So these are your x axis and y axis. Since we have only 11 samples, that 11 samples are not sufficient for the complete sine wave generation. Okay. We need to increase the number of samples. How to increase the number of samples? So let's try with the increase in the number of samples. So let me take same example and I'm going to increase the number of samples now. So let me put here instead of 10, 30 samples I'll make it, so that you will get what sort of output you are going to get. Let me create figure. So figure command will create an empty window so that your previous figure will not erased out. Okay. So I'm going to execute once again with a modified T content. So I will be getting two output here. So it is taking time. Okay, fine. You can see here this is the first signal with the 10 samples. So and this is with the 30 samples. Which one is better?
30 samples.
So because we have increased, like when we plot normally, so whenever you use it, okay, for plotting purpose, say like if I'm taking, so let me plot here itself the discrete version of this one. Okay, so here I'm taking one more figure, plot stem of t comma y, and here figure stem of t comma y. So this is actually a discrete plot. So let's plot both of them. Okay. You can see here there are few windows, figure 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is the result of figure 1 and 3 and 5, and you have 4. You can see here total 30 samples are there. Here we have only 11 samples are. When we connect one point to another point, so this was not clearly connected. We know that according to sampling theorem, in digital, if you want to like reconstruct the signal back properly, you should have a more than 2 times the frequency. But although we have it more than 2 times, 11 samples are more than frequency is just 1 hertz, like we have 11 samples, but still it is not problem proper output. So why we increase the number of samples here. But in practical scenarios we will not have these kind of lower frequencies. So that's why Nyquist told us like it is basically for the higher frequencies, like practical cases means we will be having 100 hertz, 200 hertz, that kind of signals will be there. So that time if you are using just 3 to 4 times of your maximum frequency content, you can easily reconstruct the signal. So that's it about the simple plots. Now we'll see the variations in the plots, like how to plot, like say example, I want to plot this signal with the various colors options and all. I can do that. Say I have, this is for creating new figure window. Let me do that. CLC clear, comma close all, to close all the figure windows. Frequency is 1 hertz, and I'm going to remove this A part which is not required here. And after doing the plot, if you want to give a title to your plot, you can give that as a sine wave. So next, X label. For the X axis it is time samples. Then Y axis is Y label or amplitude. So then other than this, few more options we can provide it. First let me show you these options. Okay. Now Ramya, so what do you call this point as? This is a sine wave. What do you call this point as? What do you call this point as? Peak, right? Maximum peak, and this is called as minimum peak, right? So say like something you want to mark up in your plots, you can do that using the command text. Okay, so example, this maximum peak, max peak, it is at the location from X axis. If I am looking at, it is at the index value 0.25. This is the X axis position, and Y axis position is 1. So I need to pass here X axis position as 0.25, then Y axis position as 1, then whatever the string you type it, like max peak, I'll write it. Okay, so this string will appear at this position. So execute, and you can see that string appearing here. But if you want to select the position randomly, you can use a G text. G text indicates get text position. So here just you need to pass the string, like random. I'll pass the string here as random selection. Okay, when I execute this command, automatically a cursor will appear. Okay, automatically we will get a cursor. So maybe you can see here, this cursor will appear. Wherever you click this cursor, so at that position it will put that string, that is random selection string, will appear here. Okay, so if I'm giving another point as minimum peak, minimum, so this will again appear, like say if I'm putting it here minimum. So like the random selection also you can do it using the G text. If you want to have a grids on your data, you can use grid on. If you don't want, you can type grid off. If you want a smaller grids, you can type grid minor. So let me show one option. So grids, no grids removed because of grid off, grid minor, smaller grids. Again to remove, grid off. So a few basic options you can try on. and then again in plot you can type t comma y comma, say like I'm going to mention the color as red color. I will get the output in the red color. You can see the plot is appearing in red color. Plot of t comma y comma star. So actually this signal is having a 31 samples. So each point will be marked with a star marker, and it won't connect the each and every point. It is not connecting any of these points. If you want to connect, so you can tell the line style, you can mark it here. So this is color option. So you are selecting a marker style for each point. Okay, so then plot of t comma y with a star marker, but connect the each point with a dotted line. So colon indicates dotted line connectivity. Okay, here star is a marker, so colon is a line style. What kind of style it is? It is a dotted connectivity. Okay, so you can see this now. What happens? Sorry. This, you can see that each point has been connected with the dotted lines. You can use various styles are there. You can use them. Okay. So let me do one more thing. Say like here I'm mentioning G. Okay. So with the green color. We can see that here green color is appearing. Okay, you can use any of these combinations. If you like to, you can use any of these combination. Okay, to check for more options, type help plot, and you will be able to get the document over here. In the command window itself you will get a document. Documentation appears on command window. You can see that it is appearing here. If you want the documentation in separate file, separate browser, okay, so document appears in separate window. Okay, so separate window. Let me see here, scroll up here little bit. You can see that here this is the column indicating the different what are the color options are available, what are the marker styles available, and what are the line style. As mentioned, this is a colon is for a dotted line. If you want a solid line, use the underscore like hyphen symbol, hyphen dot dash dot kind of connectivity. Like various options are there. You can combine all the three. You can give it in any order. You can combine any two, or you can pass any one also, like this. So this is about the line plot, like appearances wise, what are the changes you can do it here. So let's see multiple plots. Say like I'm having a signal here, one is sine wave, and I'm taking Z, which is a cosine wave, sine of 2 star, sorry, not sine, it is a cos, so 2 star pi star f star t. Okay, so how do I plot it? Like plot of t comma y and plot of t comma z. So first I'm selecting these many signals and plotting it. So we will get sine wave here. I'm giving a title. So not required. Okay, I'll plot this with the red color, and this one with the no, I'm not giving any color option. Let me leave this. So let me plot this one. Already I plotted, signal is appearing. Now if you want to plot the cosine wave, having any questions? So already we have a sine wave which is available here. Okay, so now if I plot cosine wave, that is z, it will erase the previous signal and it will plot the new signal. This is the problem with this one. So in order to avoid that one, you have multiple options. So first option is use plot function, like plot of t comma y comma t comma z. I can do it in a single plot. I can do multiple plots using single plot function. So I'll be getting the output like this. Both the signals are appearing in a single plot with a different colors. This is one option. Second option is using hold. Say like if you're having both the signals available at the same time, you can use this. But maybe like first you plotted something and then later on if you want to plot something on the same figure, so then this will not be useful. Okay, so what I can do is we can do this plot of t comma y. Okay, so now it will erase everything and plot this one signal, and immediately if I'm plotting plot of t comma z, it will erase out the previous and it will plot the new one. Instead what I'll do is I'll write hold on. So once I execute hold on, and when you plot this, you will be able to get both the signals. Okay, so this is the advantage. So but in older versions the color may not change, you may get the both in a same color. In a older version like 2014 and all, you may get the signals in a same color. If you want to now erase the things, like if I'm typing hold off and then plotting the new signal, again the same signal, it will erase out all the signals. Okay, so that's how you can use the hold on and hold off to plot it. So this is how you can plot the multiple plots in a single window, multiple plots in a single axis and single window. Okay, now multiple plots in multiple axis but single window. Okay, how to do that one? So let me take this same example. Now in order to do this, here I'll be taking the subplot method. Okay, using subplot. So what I'll do is I'll create a subplot of 2 rows, 1 column, 2 rows and 1 column, and in the first signal 2 1 1. So then I'll write subplot 2 1 2 comma this. So you will get the signals appearing in a single window but with the 2 different axes. So what is subplot, how it works? Okay, so let's if I'm taking a example here, okay, so consider this is the window of the figure. Say like if I want to plot 2 signals, one above and one below. Okay, so here I'm going to have how many rows? So this is 2 rows, this is the row 1 and this is row 2. So that I'll be writing here it as a 2 rows and only one column is present, so you will write it as 2 1. Okay, in that this is the first one, So you will write it as 211 and this will be as a 212. So this is about the subplot split. Okay. Similarly, so if I want to plot the signal like this one beside another one, if I want to plot this one beside the another one, okay. So here in this case you have only one row is present, you have only one row. So first you will write 1 1 here. So two columns are present, two columns you mention it, one row, two columns. So then in this is the first signal to be plotted, and in this is the second axis, first axis and second axis. So this is how the splitting of the axis will work. Next, similarly, if I want to have a 4 axis like this, if I want to have 4 axis like this, you have totally 2 rows. Okay, you will mention 2 everywhere, and you have 2 columns, mention 2 columns. Okay, so then you have a, this is a first signal, first axis, this is second axis, so this is going to be third axis and this is going to be your fourth axis. So you will write subplot 221, subplot 222, subplot 223, subplot 224. You can also write subplot like this also, like subplot 2 comma 2 comma 1. This is also permitted, even this is also same, 221, both are same. That's how you split the signals using the subplot and do the plotting. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Starting with Darshan.
No, sir.
Adarsh.
No, sir.
Harish sir.
So, which software has to be downloaded? eViewer, you told?
Microsoft?
Microsoft?
Microsoft Teams. Okay, I'll send the link, sir. I'll send the link to download it, so you can do that.
Okay.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Fine. Kishan? Sorry, Mamta ma'am. Any questions?
Sir,
Huh.
sir, subplot, please explain it.
Okay, fine. You can see here, ma'am. Subplot is basically used to divide a single window. Say example, I have this figure window into multiple axes. Say example, normally what happens on the figure, you will get a axis. Okay, this will be appearing. One axis is appearing now. But in a single window, I want to have more axis, means I can use the subplot. Okay, like this example, if I am taking. Okay, so consider this as a one window. Okay, let me take a new file. So consider this as one figure window. Okay, so this thing is a one figure window. Now directly if you are plotting, only one axis will appear, right? So instead of that, if I want to have more axis, example, I want to plot something, means normally you will get only one axis, something like this. This is the axis. Okay, so this black color, which one is your figure window? But I want to have more axis. Like how many axis you want to have? You want to have two axis. So one over here and one more over here if you want to have it. So this is having a two splitted into two rows, right? Only one column is there, two rows. So how to get this in programmatically? If you want to get like this, means you should be writing it as yeah, two rows and one column. Okay, and what is the axis number? So this is the first axis and this will be your second axis. So first, if you are writing 2 1 2, automatically axis will appear here. Okay, so let me show that also. Simply I'll create a new empty figure window. Already an empty figure window is there, it seems. It is there. So now if I'm writing subplot 2 1 2, means an empty axis will appear here. You can see that. On that we are doing the plot. Immediately I'm doing the plot, so it will appear here. It is not like we have to do in the same order. We can write in any order. Okay, but if you are writing 2 1 2, the immediate plot you are doing will appear exactly in that window, that axis. Okay. So now this is called 2. Okay, similarly you can increase that number of axis required. Okay, if you want to have like I want to have one axis over here, one more over here, sorry, 1 minute, one axis over here, one more here, and one more here. Total 3 x's are there. Now you will write this as 3 rows, 1 and 1. This is 3 1 2, 3 1 3. Okay, and what about this? You can just try on this one. Okay, try this one. Totally how many are there? Total how many x's are there? Number of rows are how many? 1 and 2. 2 rows. Columns? 1 3 columns. So you will write first one as 2, then 3, and this is first one, then 232, 233. Okay, this will be 236. So 35, 34. Okay. Okay. So usually first row you will complete, then you will go to the second row. Normally when you have more x's, it will be like that. Okay. I think it is clear. Any other doubts? No?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. So next, Chetana,
No, sir.
Rakshita,
No, sir.
Ramya, no doubts.
No, sir.
Aishwarya.
No, sir.
Okay, guys. So that's it for the day. Practice well. Tomorrow morning, maybe before 12, you will get the assignment questions. So you will be having a time till day after tomorrow. That is, you will have. Yes, 1 minute. Give me a minute. So tomorrow is 30th. Tomorrow I'll be sharing with the assignments via Google Classroom. So please upload your assignments. You need to write it in your. You need to do that programmatically, as well as you need to write it in your notebooks. Okay. So then you upload it by Friday before 4 p.m. Okay. Any doubts regarding this? You can ask me tomorrow when I'll share the assignments. You can post me on WhatsApp if you're having any doubts.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Then see you guys then tomorrow. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye bye.